The blast came first, a thunderclap that ripped through the desert air and swallowed every other sound. A wall of dust rolled across FOB Ironwell, shaking the small outpost to its bones. Sirens began to wail, echoing off the HESCO barriers as chaos erupted. Inside the command post, papers and coffee cups flew. Captain Aaron Holt kicked the door open, his face streaked with sweat and grit. Kincaid, he barked, tossing a jammed M4A1 toward the woman bent over a laptop. "Take it, clerk. Show me you know which end fires." Senior Sergeant Maya Kincaid caught the rifle instinctively, eyes flicking up just long enough to meet his glare. The weapon felt too familiar, too heavy with memory. Nearby, Private Luis Navarro froze mid-reload, the tremor in his hands betraying his fear. Outside, the attack was unfolding fast. It was 1300 hours, the heat hovering around 42 degrees C. The 72 souls stationed at Ironwell were outnumbered 2-1. Mortar rounds walked closer. The ground vibrated with each impact, rattling loose bolts from the ceiling. Holt barked orders through the radio, trying to sound in control. "First platoon, hold that western wall. I want eyes on every sector." He shot another glance at Maya. "Stay in the bunker. Sergeant, paperwork's more your thing." Maya ignored him. The sharp rhythm of battle filled her ears. Automatic fire, the cough of a M240B, the whoosh of an RPG-7. Then she heard it, a distinct crack, thump, out of sync with the rest. Her breath slowed, her head tilted. SVD Dragunov, she thought. The distance 920 meters, origin southwest ridge. She turned to Navarro. "There's a sniper up there. Tell the captain to move 3rd Squad 25 meters south, now." Navarro hesitated, but the conviction in her voice sent him running. Maya's fingers brushed the sand on the floor, testing wind direction without thinking. It was muscle memory, something that didn't belong to an admin clerk. Seconds later, a distant pop echoed. Someone screamed over the comms. "Tower 2's hit. They're inside the wire." Holt's voice cracked through the radio, cursing, shouting for reinforcements that weren't coming. Maya stayed still, eyes locked on the ridge through the storm of dust and sound. Beneath her calm exterior, something long dormant stirred awake. "Shade's awake," she whispered. And this time, she didn't fight it. "Where are you watching from? Soldier, drop your location in the comments and hit subscribe, because what happens next changes everything." The ridge lit up like a storm front. Red tracers carved across the air as insurgents poured down the slope, shouting war cries that drowned even the sirens. The western wall of FOB Ironwell shook under the barrage. Dust and smoke turned daylight into a gray blur. Captain Holt yelled into his radio, voice cracking. "Hold the line, Tower 2. Report Tower 2. Do you copy? Only static?" A body tumbled off the catwalk a second later. The sniper had zeroed in. Maya crouched behind a shattered barrier, the M4A1 still jammed in her grip. Holt sneered as he passed. "Told you, clerk, stick to spreadsheets." She didn't answer. Her hands moved on instinct. Tap, rack, clear, reload, 9 seconds. Navarro blinked. "How did you cover the left flank?" She cut in, voice level. Another crack echoed sharper, deliberate. Her breath slowed. SVD Dragunov, high caliber, about 900 meters. She scanned the ridge through drifting smoke, eyes narrowing. That distance was suicide for an M4. But 10 feet away, a fallen spotter lay beside an M110 SAS, the Army's semi-auto sniper system. Still warm. She crawled over, wiped the dust off its glass, chambered around. Let's see if the old ghosts remember. Through the 3.5x optic, she spotted him, a man with a radio pack and 2 guards carrying RPG-7s. The commander, the one calling their mortar strikes. She keyed the comm, southwest ridge, 920 meters. The one with the antenna, he's controlling fire. Holt snapped back. "You can't see through this storm." A mortar landed close enough to lift them off the ground. When he looked up again, Maya was gone. He found her prone behind a concrete slab, scope steady, eyes like ice. "Sergeant, what the hell are you doing?" Ending this. The world shrank to her heartbeat. Wind right to left 6 meters per second. Mirage from heat shimmer. One breath, one trigger pull. The rifle barked once. Across the ridge. The commander's silhouette collapsed. Silence. Then the enemy line fractured. Chaos rippling through their ranks. Navarro whispered, "No one makes that shot." Maya didn't blink. Someone just did. Behind her, Holt stood frozen, half awe, half fear. "Who the hell are you?" "Kincaid." She ejected the casing, eyes still on the ridge. "The part I tried to bury." The echo of the shot rolled across the desert like distant thunder. For a single heartbeat, everything froze: the gunfire, the shouting, even the wind. Then the ridge exploded into panic. Fighters scattered, yelling orders that dissolved into chaos. The assault on FOB Ironwell broke apart in seconds. Smoke and heat shimmered across the compound. The air stank of cordite and burning diesel. Senior Sergeant Maya Kincaid stayed in position. Rifle still aligned on the ridge. Her breath came slow and deliberate. The calm after impact around her. The outpost crackled with movement shouts. Metal, the sound of survival. Captain Holt's radio came alive with static and shouting. "Ironwell Command. This is Saber Ops Blackhawks inbound. ETA 3 mics. Holt exhaled, the tension leaving him in a rough laugh. "You just saved every soul in this base." Kincaid. "Hell of a shot." Maya didn't reply. Her gaze stayed locked on the ridge. Through the drifting haze, she could just make out the figure she dropped motionless. Too still, and yet something in her gut twisted. It wasn't over. Not for her. Rotor blades thundered overhead, beating the dust into spirals. 2 UH-60 Met Blackhawks swept low over the perimeter, door gunners tearing into the retreating enemy. Within minutes, the battle was a memory. Then came a third helicopter, sleek, black, its hull marked only by a faint signal corps insignia. It hovered for a moment before settling in the center of the base. Soldiers stopped moving, watching the side door open. A man stepped out, straight-backed, composed, eyes sharp as a blade. Brigadier General Thomas Reed. His presence alone steadied the air. Holt saluted fast, voice still hoarse. Sir Ironwell secured. Minimal losses. Credit to Sergeant Kincaid, she made an impossible long-range shot. Reed's eyes found her immediately. His expression shifted from surprise to recognition, to something heavier. He walked closer, his tone low. "Shade," he said. Maya froze. The name hit her like a round to the chest. "I'm not her anymore." Reed lifted a tablet, its screen glowing in the dim light. Operation Night Sentinel classified footage, her old unit insignia, and a single word stamped across it in red KIA. Holt frowned. "Sir, what is this?" Reed's gaze never left Maya, a ghost file that shouldn't exist until now. Before anyone could react, the radio on the table burst into static. Then a voice, clear and cold. "We know she's alive." Silence fell over the command post. Reed's jaw clenched. "Pack your gear, Sergeant," he said quietly. "Looks like your past just declared war." Night draped over FOB Ironwell, heavy and silent. The fires from the assault had burned down to embers, painting the sand in dull red. But inside the command tent, tension still pulsed like a live wire. Brigadier General Thomas Reed stood over a metal table littered with maps and satellite stills. The faint glow from a single lamp caught the sharp lines of his face. On the tablet beside him, replay footage looped again and again: the ridge, the chaos. One impossible shot. "I read your report 4 years ago," Reed said quietly. Not looking up, "I wrote your eulogy. Kincaid, I buried you with the others at Wraith Outpost." Across the table, Senior Sergeant Maya Kincaid didn't flinch. You should have buried the name, not me. Reed finally met her eyes. There was no accusation there, only disbelief. You were gone. Maya, your entire unit wiped out. Thorne died covering evac. We searched for 3 days before command called it. I signed the paperwork because I had to. Maya's gaze was distant. Haunted. I made it out. Barely. Spent months trying to forget. I didn't want to be Shade anymore. Outside. The faint hum of UH-60 rotors rolled through the desert night. Captain Holt lingered by the flap, pretending not to listen. Every muscle tense. Reed turned the tablet toward her. On the screen, grainy drone footage. Timestamped just hours earlier. The insurgent commander she'd shot today. Signal intel confirms it. He said, "Same training network that ambushed Wraith. Whoever planned this wanted you exposed." Maya's jaw tightened. Then it worked. Reed stepped closer. Voice low. "They know you're alive now. That shot lit up every frequency we monitor. You've been off the grid for years, but they've been waiting for proof." He pulled something from his pocket, a folded patch. Worn but clean. Master Sergeant insignia. Reinstated. He said simply, "You didn't come back to die in a bunker. You came back because war has a way of finding its ghosts." For a moment, Maya just stared at the patch, the air between them thick with memory and regret. Then she stood. Movements calm, deliberate. "If they want a ghost," she said softly, "I'll give them one." Outside, the horizon pulsed with distant thunder artillery echoing somewhere out in the desert. Reed watched her step into the darkness, the faint orange light catching the scar on her shoulder. And for the first time that night, he believed in legends again. The horizon burned red as dawn crept over FOB Ironwell. The wind carried the taste of dust and smoke, remnants of the battle that nearly broke them. Soldiers moved in silence, rebuilding what little remained of their defenses. But the real storm was gathering inside the outpost. In the command tent, Brigadier General Reed zipped his field jacket. "Our ride's inbound," he said. 15 minutes. Maya Kincaid stood by the open flap, watching the sun climb over the desert. The first rays hit the scar on her shoulder, a faint circle pressed deep into the skin, the mark of years spent behind a rifle stock. She adjusted the strap on her gear without looking back. Reed approached quietly. "You sure about this? Once you step on that bird, you're Shade again. No more hiding." Maya smiled faintly. Maybe Shade was never the problem. Maybe running was outside. Captain Holt was briefing the remaining troops, his voice steadier than before. He caught Maya's eye and nodded, half respect, half apology. Nearby, Private Navarro jogged up, clutching her old dog tags. "You dropped these, ma'am." She took them, thumb tracing the worn serial numbers. "Keep them," she said. "You'll need something to remind you what belief looks like." The thump of rotor blades grew louder, the Blackhawks returning, kicking up waves of sand across the pad. As the wind howled around her, Maya turned once more toward the ridge, now empty and quiet. Reed raised his voice over the engines. "You ready?" Maya's eyes were calm, resolute. "I was born ready. I just forgot for a while." She climbed aboard the helicopter, its interior glowing with morning light. Soldiers on the ground paused to watch the woman who'd saved their lives, who'd turned an impossible shot into legend. As the Black Hawk lifted, Maya looked down at Ironwell shrinking beneath her. She wasn't thinking about glory, or ghosts, or the name Shade. She was thinking about one truth that had cost her 4 years to learn. You can't outrun who you are, but you can choose what you fight for. Reed glanced at her across the cabin. "Welcome home, Master Sergeant." Maya met his eyes, then looked back toward the endless desert ahead. "Home," she said quietly, "is wherever the fight finds me." The helicopter vanished into the rising sun.